All right, millennials, I got a question for you. Did the other millennials know that if you don't have money in your savings account for long enough, it just disappears? Like what? I just called support to my bank and was like, hey, I don't know if this is like a tech issue or if like this is just something that happens if you're just poor long enough, but my savings account is gone. And I decided to check today to add money because I actually have a little bit of money to move into the savings account. And I went to the app and it doesn't exist anymore. And the banker was like, first of all, I love your energy. Second of all, yes. And then the funnier part is that the phone hung up. Like, I think they accidentally hung up in the middle of me saying millennial problems. Which is like, I don't even know, man. Like, it's just, that just is what it is, I guess. But yeah, fun fact, if you pour too long, you don't get savings account.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
Today is January 12th. I was laid off July 12th of 2023, so it's been 6 months. And here's what I've learned. People who are not in this situation lack empathy, and it's staggering. It's staggering. Y'all would rather believe that it is we, the job seekers, who are broken and not the system. You won't understand until you're in it. And I pray you're never in it. There are people out here with bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhDs, people with all three who are on LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, all talking about, I've been out of work for 9 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years. But it's their fault. Oh, why don't you go get a part-time job? Target's always hiring. Walmart's always hiring. What happens when you do apply for those jobs and they tell you they can't hire you because you're overqualified? What then? People are like, oh, just start a business. Do you know how long it takes before a small business becomes profitable? Before a small business owner can start taking a salary? No, you don't, because you've never had to do it. You would rather believe that it's the people who are in the shit. You would rather believe that there's something wrong with them, that they're not trying hard enough. Do you understand that people who have been looking for jobs longer than I have, even people who have been laid off for 3 months, there are people who go to sleep with knots in their stomach because they don't know how they're going to pay their rent. They don't know how they're going to pay their car note. They don't know how they're going to put food on their table. Some of these people have children that they need to provide for. But you would rather believe that it's their fault that they're in this predicament. Oh, they didn't save enough. Do you? No, because you're sitting pretty. You don't understand because you're getting a paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, bi-monthly, however often you get paid. It's not affecting you. So you think people are just out here spending money willy-nilly when that's not the case. There are people who haven't seen a movie. There are people who don't subscribe to streaming services. There are people who don't afford themselves the extras in life because they're watching every penny. And that's what they've been doing. And that's what they were raised to do. But then something outside of their control, a layoff, a job closing, people in LA whose businesses have just burnt down. You would rather believe that it's their fault they're in that situation. Then open your heart. And let me tell you something else. The job advice that you guys give that worked 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago does not work in 2025. There are people I know, because I'm one of them, who do tailor every resume to every job from sun up to sundown, have missed time with friends and family, can't take the time to build community for self-care because they're so focused on trying to find a job, and they've been at it for months to going on years. But you would rather believe that it's them. You would rather point the finger at them because you're not in it. It's shocking. Had somebody on my post yesterday talking about, oh, I was raised that when I needed a job, I just went and get a part-time job. Again, I pose the question to you. What happens when these jobs that y'all love to say don't deserve to be paid a living wage, the Taco Bells, the Burger Kings, the McDonald's, the Targets, the jobs in the mall, the custodial jobs, what happens when you can't get those jobs because you're overqualified? People have, like myself, have resorted to posting GoFundMes, and you would rather shun those people. You would rather make fun of those people. You would rather denigrate and criticize and talk down to those people because it's not your situation. And I pray it's never your situation, because nobody should have to go through this. And I'm yelling because I'm tired. I'm not mad at for me. I'm in a better situation than a lot because I have a roommate who does have a job. And he has stepped all the way up. He's working overtime every chance he gets so that he can keep extra money in his bank account so he can cover our expenses. And it breaks my heart that this man cannot rest because I cannot find gainful employment to contribute to the household. That man last month worked 11 days in a row. And the day he stopped, he caught a bad cold. And I say it all the time. When I get a job and when I'm making a good salary, I'm spoiling the hell out of my best friend because he stepped all the way up to take care of us because we're a team. Because he knows I would do the exact same for him. But y'all would rather look at people like me who have tried to ease his burden by asking for help, by applying for assistance, because unemployment is either not enough or getting ready to run out. If it's not happening to you, if it's not happening to somebody that you know, it's easier for you to blame the people going through it rather than the people who are putting them through them. Stop blaming job seekers. Take your head out of the clouds, which is not what I want to say, but I'm trying to be as cordial as possible. This is bigger than me. Find some empathy. Actually go on social media apps and see what people are going through. Come down out of your ivory tower. Take a step down from your high horse. And actually see what people down here are going through. It's shocking. It's so shocking that, well, you should have started looking for a job when, some people don't have that luxury. Some people get told they're laid off and their job is immediately terminated. They don't have the chance to prepare. I just saw another comment. It's like, oh, well, workers only want things on their Stop blaming the job seekers. People don't want to work for poverty wages, and people don't want to be billionaires. People just want to be able to pay their bills and live comfortably. People want to be able to be like, if I buy this little treat for myself, I don't want to have to worry about which bill is not getting paid. If I pay for my daughter's dance class, because dancing is what brings her joy, I'm not taking from our medical bills, our electric bill, our mortgage. If I allow my son to play for this extracurricular activity, if I allow him to join this intramural sports team, it's not taking away from the bills of the household. That's what people want. People want to be able to make enough money to live. Not everybody wants to be these billionaires that y'all idolize, that don't care about you. People just want to be able to pay their bills and be able to save for their futures. But they can't even think about their dreams because they're living in a nightmare. But you don't understand because you're not in it. And you refuse to believe that it's something that they're doing wrong. I pray you never have to go through this. I pray you never lose everything. I pray that you never have a path and a plan for your life and have it completely disrupted and upended because of circumstances beyond your control. Because the people that you're kicking today might be the very people you need to ask for help tomorrow. Find some compassion. Show some empathy so that when you're here, because one thing about them tables is they always turn. When you are where we are, you're going to need us. So find some empathy today. Stop blaming people who are going through circumstances beyond their control. Have a good day.
General forbearance has saved my ass multiple times throughout my adult life, and I highly recommend looking into it if you've fallen into financial hardship. This job market is awful, and there are so many of us struggling to find full-time employment. General forbearance can be used for any of these reasons: changing your employment, medical expenses, financial difficulties, etc. It is determined by whoever provided your loan, so go to your loan provider site. For me, it was Great Lakes. You fill out their little form, you submit it to them. They typically, they've always gotten back to me within a week, and then it can apply to whatever date you choose it to apply for, and typically it can go for up to 12 months. No more than 12 months at a time. It's also available for direct loans, federal family education loans, Perkins loans. That's it. For me, this has saved literally hundreds of dollars. Your interest will still accrue, so still be making those interest payments because those start to stack up over time, and you don't want one hefty ass payment at the end of your forbearance period, but it significantly reduces your fixed expenses for those months, so you're able to catch up elsewhere. I also reduced my credit card payments by $600 a month by just talking to my provider, so do that too.
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda, and this is my series where I talk about my personal financial journey since being laid off. So wanted to respond to this comment asking if I'm just living off my savings since being laid off. The short answer is no. I currently make enough money in some part-time jobs since I don't currently have a full-time job, but that hasn't always been the case. To give you some quick background, I've been laid off since December 2022, so a really long time, and I have dived into my savings a little bit, but actually, luckily, have not had to use much of my savings. So when I first got laid off, I was able to survive pretty much on unemployment. So at the time I lived in Denver, and I think my unemployment checks were about $2,600 a month. I was in a funny situation when I got laid off where I wasn't actually paying any rent. I was still kind of being a digital nomad, and the place I was living I already paid for before I got laid off, and then I was also renting out my house I own, so I was making some income there, so was able to survive just on my unemployment checks for the first 6 months being laid off, because that's your unemployment pretty much lasts 6 months, and then right when that ended, that's when I relocated to Seattle, and that's when it got a little tight with money, but I was able to secure 2 part-time jobs that were able to just hold me by the bare minimum. But I think since being laid off, I've also just changed my lifestyle to be very frugal. I try not to spend a lot of money on myself. So right now, I actually can sometimes save money. Most months, I just make enough money to live, but sometimes I do actually save money, so that's good.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
So if you're laid off and you're looking for ways to save money, or if you're just wanting to save money in general, tune into these 3 things that I did this year that save my husband and I hundreds of dollars in reoccurring expenses. The first thing I did was switch wireless carriers from Verizon to T-Mobile, and this ended up saving me about $70 a month. T-Mobile's always having these massive promotions and deals, and they have a lot of partnerships with tech companies that provide benefits to current or ex-employees. So definitely recommend you look into T-Mobile if you're not happy with the price of your monthly phone service. Secondly is dog boarding costs. It costs my husband and I anywhere from $55 to $120 in dog boarding, just depending on the type of care that we're providing for our dog. And we discovered this app. I think it was created by somebody in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's called Woofy Club, and it basically connects you with other people who have dogs in the area, and you can essentially do a dog swap. So my husband and I watched this family's dog for a couple weeks, and then they watched our dog while we were in Europe. And so this ended up saving us over $1,500 in dog boarding costs. If you live in a high cost of living area especially, this can be really, really lucrative. And so definitely recommend looking into Woofy Club. And then lastly, switching from Comcast to Astound broadband for internet. I think for Comcast, we were spending close to $90 a month for internet, which is just absurd. And I think with Astound, we pay $25 a month. So super happy with the service that they provide. And Comcast, we've had issues with for a long time, but it seemed like there were no other competitors that provided as fast of internet, and we've been really happy with Astound. Let me know if you have any other tips for reducing your reoccurring expenses.
What's up, cousin? Listen, how many times did you transfer your savings to your check-ins to pay for lunch this week? I did it twice. And we in the middle of the week. You ever go to pay for your lunch and your card declined and they be like, it ain't no money in it, your card declined, and you got to act like it didn't decline because of insufficient funds? You got to be like, man, hold on, I know I got money in here. Let me try it again. But you really transferring that savings to that check-ins? Do it again. Let me see it again. Boop. It went through. I knew it. I knew I had money in that bit. Next time, I ain't even going to pay for the fucking food. I'm just going to walk in a random Chick-fil-A and be like, Uber Eats for Stephanie. I got a Grubhub for Stephanie. I got a DoorDash for... Because Stephanie, she going to get a 12-piece with the sweet tea and a fry, and she probably going to get like a brownie or something, and I can get with that, or she'll get a number one. Stephanie sounds safe. But either way, yeah. Grubhub, oh, this the one? Okay, take it. And I'm out of there. I ain't got time for this shit no more. No, because listen, fuck this. Next payday, we going to take all our money, spend it on whatever the fuck we want to spend it on, and just call our bank and tell them that shit was stolen. Yup. They stole my shit Thursday night. Don't worry about why I waited till Monday to let y'all know. I don't know. All I know is I've been in the house all weekend and somebody been swiping the paint off my motherfucking card. So I'm gonna need y'all to fill that bitch back up. And I'm gonna need a new card with the same card number, because I don't feel like changing over all my other shit. So yeah, let's let that happen. Let's make that happen expeditiously.
I'm gonna be completely honest. My savings account was depleted the day I got laid off. I had thousands of dollars in my savings account and I left $15 in there because I needed to pay bills the next month. Everything was coming within that next week, so I took everything out. And all of the side gigs that I've done over the months, whether it was photography, doing Rover, doing tutoring online, doing proofreading or editing documents, a lot of stuff that I've done over the last several years for side income, that became just more prominent about what I was doing. And that's what I was doing for income for the last several months, but it just stayed in my checking account to pay bills. I was doing the best I could, and my savings account was not a thought, truly. I had $15 in there, and at the end of January, I had 58 cents. And it wasn't until I got the notification that my savings account went to negative $4.41 that I said, oh. And I think, I once had savings and it all got depleted because I was laid off before I got to start, and it just took everything. And I know this has happened to a lot of people, not just me.
Job market is just horrible right now. And when you are out of work and you run out of savings and then you go into debt. I myself have been in this position for about 2 years. I was extremely financially stressed. You're actively looking for a job, yes. You're applying. You continue to apply and apply and apply, and you still haven't found a job. And week after week, you get less and less money. You get less and less in your checking account, and then you get less and less in your savings account. And then you go into debt. The stress of that literally it is just extremely overwhelming. The immense weight that is on you, it is like nothing you ever experienced in this life. I went through it, guys, so I already know. And all of you who are experiencing the same thing, I feel for you. If you can, do Uber Eats, and just scrape by as much as you can. Do what you have to do as much as you can. It gets real when you have no money whatsoever. When you're flat broke and now you're going into debt, it is insane because it is extremely stressful and depressing.
So I just want to come on here and say that the system is rigged. Oh, you don't have enough money in your savings account? We're going to charge you. Oh, you have an overdraft because you don't have enough money in your checking account? We're going to charge you. Oh, you can't afford your credit cards? Well, we're going to give you a worse interest rate and charge you more. Oh, you couldn't afford to pay something? Late fee. It's like, come on. You wonder why the poor people get more poor.
I got a comment on this video when I was talking about how I afford living and existing when I'm currently unemployed. And one of the things I mentioned was that I had a 6-month emergency fund for, like this type of situation and how much I believed in that. And a lot of you mentioned that you really wish you could do something like this, but it wasn't really possible with your current circumstances. Back when I first graduated college, I had this dream of traveling. My mom was an immigrant, so growing up, taking vacations wasn't really a thing. And because of that, I had a very strong desire to see the world. So at 22 years old, I made a goal to save up as much as I possibly could so that I could eventually take a year off to travel. Now, just for some context, I was making $45K in the Bay Area at the time. And if you know anything about San Francisco's job market and economy and living expenses, that is not a lot. So I had to live at home for 2 years so that I could save on rent, which meant commuting over 3 hours a day just to get to and from work. It also meant missing out on a lot of memories that I could have made because my friends were all living and going out in the city, but I did what I had to do to make it work. I budgeted and tracked every single penny that I spent and earned to make sure that I was meeting my monthly goals. And 2 years later, I was able to save up $35K, which was enough for me to take a full year off and go travel to almost 30 different countries. And the reason I tell you this is not to say that everyone can do it. I completely understand that it's a huge privilege to be able to live at home. The fact that I am college educated, that I had a salary job in the first place. Oh, and I did not graduate with debt, which is probably the biggest advantage I had. This is really just more of a data point and an example of someone who was able to save up a large amount of money without coming from like a tech job or a trust fund. So if you don't have at least some sort of emergency fund, then I encourage you, open up a Mint account, even adjust a spreadsheet and start tracking every single cent that comes in and out of your bank account and look for opportunities to cut back. It's not fun, of course, but in this economy, we got to start creating our own safety nets.
So you just became unemployed and you don't have any savings. You might have a little bit of money left over in your bank account, maybe one last paycheck coming in. You may need to tap into your retirement policy 401k in order to get you going. You start to realize the reality of everything. Things are about to get a lot tougher on you, especially if you have a family to support. I wanted to get on here and share some of the stuff that I did that helped me out during my unemployment phases. Because I fell into that same boat. I was unemployed, didn't have a lot in my savings. I didn't have an emergency fund. All I had was my checking account and maybe that last paycheck coming in. The first thing you want to do day one, as soon as they let you go, get on that website for your state benefits. Claim SNAP, EBT, any type of Medicare, Medicaid, and maybe see if you could qualify for some of that cash allowance. That cash allowance is separate from unemployment. And go ahead and submit for unemployment as well, regardless if you got fired or you decided to step down. Remember, every case gets investigated, and if you decided to step down, it could be for legitimate reasons, and your investigator might hear you out. Start an eBay account. Open up accounts with Macari. I know this one's gonna hurt, but get ready to sell some of your most valued possessions. During some of my unemployment phases, I had to sell a lot of my gaming stuff, which broke my heart, but I had to do what I had to do. If you still have decent and reliable transportation, get yourself an Uber driver account, a Lyft account, look into Instacart, maybe even DoorDash. Get some of that side income generating. One thing that helped me is that I printed out a bunch of my resumes And when I was doing food deliveries for Uber, anytime I got a decent looking house, I would place my resume underneath that delivery. I wouldn't place it in the bag because I didn't want to get any complaints, but I would place my resume underneath the delivery. Set up at least 3 to 4 different times a day where you're going to get behind a computer and just apply to jobs left and right. One mistake that I made is I used my unemployment phase to find the next, high level career, which unfortunately didn't come right away. That takes months, maybe even years to find those type of jobs. During your unemployment phase, your focus is to get any type of income in order to sustain yourself. Well, that means if you have to take a job that pays you, far less than what you're used to, go ahead and take it. Just know that you're still looking for that high level career and keep applying to other jobs in the meantime. Remember, don't get yourself confused. Your priority is to get rid of your no income status. And one last tip that I can give for people that are going through this right now is stay away from, any type of mind altering substances. The D word, I don't want to say it here on TikTok, and obviously alcohol. Those are just going to bring you down. They're going to waste your time. They're going to waste your money. They're going to depress you. They're going to put you in a possible situation where you might even become homeless. So stay away from those things. As long as you have a stable mind, you're focused, and you know what you're doing, you're going to be just fine.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.